Hello, BookTube. Well, it's Wednesday, and that means Epic Comic Book Wednesday, when Michael K. Vaughan and I combine the forces of stately Vaughan Manor and Hyde Cottage to talk about the comic books on which we've wasted our youths. And since I horned my way in eons ago, when Mike was just innocently looking at some of his Epic collections, his Marvel Epic collections, hence the title of this ongoing event, I horned my way in and said, hey, I want to talk about that too. So since I did that, he gets to pick what we talk about. So it's not just Legion of Superheroes over and over and over again. He gets to pick. And some of his picks are odd. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are really well informed because they perfectly coincide with my own. But in this case, he picked something that I would never have revisited. Never in a million years would I have revisited it. He picked this. Batman Year 2, from a run on Detective Comics where we go back in time to Batman's second year in operation as the Caped Crusader. This is by Mike Barr, is the author, the writer here, and the art starts off by Alan Davis, and then degenerates into Todd McFarlane. And it's the look, the logo here, the name Year 2, is all a nod to Batman Year 1, which I've talked about extensively on this channel. I've done read-throughs of it on this channel. And it is great. It is one of the great comic book runs, storylines of all time. It's certainly one of the greatest Batman storylines of all time. And it does exactly what its title indicates. It shows us the first year of Batman, of Bruce Wayne, taking on the identity of Batman. And it's brilliant. I cannot sing the praises of Batman Year 1 high enough. If you haven't read it and you don't think you like comic books, read it and see. If you don't like comic books when you're done, you'll at least like one comic book. You'll like that story. It's too good not to. This is obviously meant to build on that. It is meant to be, okay, what about Batman's second year? But this differs from Batman Year 1 in a number of ways. First of all, it's a different writer. I'm trying to be diplomatic here. Mike Barr is not Frank Miller at his prime. Second, it's not just one artist. Batman Year 1 had David Mazzucchelli, and it was great. He's great artwork from beginning to end. Genuinely beautiful composition on the page. And this is not that. Alan Davis is a terrific comic book artist. Todd McFarlane, maybe not so much, but Alan Davis only does a tiny bit. He barely tops his hat, and then he's done an Irish Goodbye, and he's out of this book, and then you get the Showboat in. And the main way that this differs from Batman Year 1 is that Batman Year 1 is, as I mentioned, absolutely brilliant, and Batman Year 2 is dog crap. It's just absolutely awful. In fact, I shouldn't even call it dog crap, because every day Frida and I find something interesting in literal dog crap. And there's nothing interesting in this book at all. It's terrible. If it weren't for the Alan Davis artwork, this would be irredeemable. Just completely irredeemable. It is the story of Batman in Year 2 of his career. He is playing footsie with a young woman who has thought about maybe taking holy orders, but she will be perfectly happy to be Mrs. Wayne instead and live in a mansion. And he is also Batman, as a thing to do. And he encounters the Reaper, a tall, death-masked, scythe-wielding vigilante from Gotham's early days. The Reaper was Gotham's first masked vigilante. No mention in this book, probably no concrete, settled continuity in this time, this came out in the late 80s, that Gotham City's first masked vigilante was in fact the original Green Lantern. No mention here. There are later DC comics that do mention that and establish that as continuity. Here, it's just this character, the Reaper. In this storyline, the Reaper comes out of retirement. And it's not somebody taking up the mantle of the Reaper. It's an old man who puts on his armor and picks up his scythe, thinks that Gotham has gone to heck in a handbasket and that this new vigilante Batman is not doing enough about it, and decides to start carving people up. Malefactors. Starts carving malefactors up. Bruce Wayne notices this, and eventually he confronts the Reaper and has his keister handed to him. He is liberally beaten, slashed, cut, and hacked by the Reaper. He isn't killed, but he doesn't have a chance. He loses instantly to, a man in his late 70s. I would assume that the Reaper is in his late 70s. He patches himself up back in the Batcave, but he also has a melodramatic moment. Maybe what I need to even the scales is a gun, and not just any gun. Through conflicts of circumstances that I would really like to take up with the Gotham City Police Department property room, Bruce Wayne owns the gun of Joe Chill, the villain who shot dead his parents. He has that gun, and he figures this is the gun I should use to take on the Reaper. But it's not enough. First of all, I want to point out, if the Reaper is slash you to ribbons, you don't need a gun. You need armor. But these are the days before Batman is in his current continuity, and especially in Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, where we are led to expect that Batman wears a bulletproof suit. It's as thin as a sheet of paper, but it can take multiple point-blank automatic gunshot shots to the head without Batman even having ringing ears, much less the impact alone pulping his head inside his hood. And, of course, bullets just bouncing off his suit without even knocking him over. The way they do the bulletproof suit in the Michael Keaton Batman movie. He is shot, and yes, the suit is bulletproof. Even though it's not bulky, it's bulletproof. But the impact knocks him off his feet. In later Batman incarnations, both in the movies and in the comic book, no. The bullets just bounce off him. Unless you hit his face, bullets just bounce off him. In this comic, no. Batman is wearing leotards, so if you slice him, you cut him open. In this comic, even his cape is not bulletproof. He just has to dodge bullets. He has to make it so that the bullets are irrelevant. In this continuity, facing a character like the Reaper, you would want armor before you would want a gun. But he takes the gun anyway, but the gun is not the only precaution that he takes to take down the Reaper. He also makes a deal with Gotham City's crime lords, with their underworld. You want me dead, I want you all in jail, but let's put aside our differences long enough to take out this Reaper guy who's hurting you as much as he's hurting me. And the crime lords agree, and they have an emissary that they want to team up with Batman, and it's Joe Chill, the man who killed Bruce Wayne's parents. There is no way on Earth, no way conceivable in any reality that Batman would team up with Joe Chill. None at all. No way at all. It doesn't matter that Batman is thinking in his mind that once he's done with this, that Joe Chill and the mob has helped him take out the Reaper, he will then take out Joe Chill. Doesn't matter. Wouldn't happen. In a million years. Not in a million years. It wouldn't happen. Especially not if anything that happened in Batman Year 1 is actually continuity. And it has to be. Why would you make Batman Year 2 if you weren't honoring the continuity of Batman Year 1? You wouldn't. It's ridiculous, and it ends up poorly. It ends poorly all along. The young woman that Batman is intent on marrying when the story starts turns out to be the daughter of a key figure in the storyline, most of which will remind a lot of you who maybe have never looked at this piece of Trek, but who have seen the Batman animated movie, Mask of the Phantasm. This plot will sound very familiar to you from that. Large chunks of this idea were taken for the plot of that movie. Things were altered. It's not the Reaper, it's the Phantasm, but large chunks of it are taken into that movie and entirely improved. Mask of the Phantasm is one of the great Batman movies of all time and has that iconic moment. I realize it's a burden that I have to bear, that I excoriate Dude Bros while also simultaneously liking a lot of the same stuff they do. Believe you, David Murphy and I have explored this paradox when he has been over here. And of course, Dude Bros, they're not so sold on Mask of the Phantasm just in general, because it's long and they've got things to do, an empire to build, women to abuse, children to misname. But there's one moment in Mask of the Phantasm that they religiously love, and so do I. Of course, I'm referring to the moment where Bruce Wayne puts on the cowl of Batman for the first time. It is beautifully done. No harm in admitting that. But there's nothing like that in this, though. The Mask of the Phantasm just takes this and improves on it. Instead, this is just one long waste of time. An attempt on the part of someone involved in DC to make lightning strike the same place twice. To recapture magic, which cannot be done. It cannot be done. It doesn't matter if you do a Watchmen spin-off series. It will be terrible. It doesn't matter if you do Batman Year 2 or even Batman Year 3. It will be terrible. It doesn't even matter if you do if you get the same person back. Frank Miller did a sequel to Dark Knight Returns that is unreadably awful. You can't do it. You're better advised not to try. Come up with your own ideas and hope that one of them catches lightning. This is not that. This is awful. And in the end, of course, if you know Batman in current continuity, he decides not to carry a gun. Of course, he wouldn't do that. It wouldn't be the gun that killed his parents. That's a little twisted even for Batman. But he would carry a gun. Of course he would. And he would wear armor. Of course he would. If he's facing people who are armed and who have guns everywhere and can scope him out from a distance that he can't even see, of course he would wear visible armor and carry a gun. But now he's too cool. You know what the greatest possible solution to his failed one-man war on crime? Instead of carrying a gun or colluding with the underworld or teaming up with Joe Chill, you know what the best possible solution to this would be? To be born on Krypton. That would be the best possible solution. Born on Krypton, then you come to Earth and fight crime. But at the end of this story, Bruce Wayne is perfectly content to give up his life as Batman and marry this young woman unless she becomes a nun. Well, the Bruce Wayne in Batman Year One he's barely human. He isn't capable of making a decision like that. He's been possessed from an early age with forces beyond his control. He cannot make decisions like that. This was a failure. It was a failure as a book. Probably not a failure as a pick. I can't wait to watch Mike's video and see. I will scream at the screen if I'm sure there is a $150 hardcover omnibus of this garbage, and he has, God knows, he has $150 hardcover omnibuses of plenty of garbage. I'll scream at the screen if he has an omnibus of this thing. But I can't wait to see what he makes with it. He told me what it was, what he wanted to talk about, but he didn't go into detail. I don't know if he actually likes this or not. I'm hoping that he doesn't. We don't agree on everything, but surely we can agree that this is really, really dumb. We shall see. I will wrap this up for now. I'll go watch this video, and I'll leave a link to it down below. So I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.